moving towards their own hockey careers. Today, NTV Sports Heroes and Legends joins the Faulkners, the first family of Newfoundland hockey. After this message, the first of our shows on the Faulkners of Bishop Falls. Surface of the Exploits River that the five sons of Lester and Olive Faulkner learned how to skate. There wasn't much else to do in Bishop Falls during the winter months, but the Faulkners took to hockey like ducks to water. On a cold February morning, George Faulkner, NTV cameraman Kevin Simmons, and myself enjoyed a nice trip with Air Atlantic from St. John's to Gander, and then drove to Bishop Falls to join a lot of the Faulkners. We were sorry Seth couldn't make it, but the rest of the boys who played for the Herder were there, along with a goodly number of friends and family. From the Exploits River, where they played their hockey, we went indoors to the Bishop Falls Stadium to join the Faulkners. The 7 Faulkners who have their name on the Herder Memorial Trophy were all at the Bishop Falls Stadium, along with, of course, some of their cousins and some of the sons of the original 4 or 5, if you want to say that, who started the Faulkner legend. Lindy Faulkner was the oldest of the first 5 brothers. While he played many exhibition games with the Conception Bay Seabees, his Herder victories came as a member of the Grand Falls Cataracts. The resident rule, as you will hear later, prevented Lindy Faulkner from playing officially with Conception Bay. George Faulkner, my personal choice as the best hockey player that this province has ever produced, played his early junior hockey and his early senior hockey in Quebec. He returned to Newfoundland to establish the Conception Bay Seabees, one of the finest teams that ever played for the Herder Memorial Trophy. In the 1965-66 season, George was seconded by Canada's national team. And in the World Championships in '66, he had more goals for Canada than any other player. George's Herders came many communities, in St. John's and Corner Brook, as well as with the Conception Bay team. Alec Faulkner, the first Newfoundlander to play in the National Hockey League, played 1 game with Toronto, and then established himself as a center with the Detroit Red Wings, playing with such people as Terry Sadchuk, Gordie Howe, Alec Del Vecchio, and Normie Ullman. He also played in the Western Hockey League. Jack Faulkner played no organized hockey till he was 18, and yet possessed enough talent and ability, tremendous shot by the way, to earn a berth on the San Diego Gulls in the Western Hockey League. They are the 4 Faulkners who have their name on the Herder Memorial Trophy. The second generation fellas, Wayne with 3 and Gene with 2, are Lindy's sons. And Bob, who has 2 Herders to his credit, playing with St. John's, is George's son. Seth Faulkner, he came after Alec and before Jack, potentially many people feel could have been the best of the hockey-playing Faulkners. His promising career was terminated when, in his mid-teens, he suffered a motorcycle accident that injured his leg. We were disappointed that the day we went to Bishop Falls to shoot the Faulkners, he wasn't available. His mother, Olive, tells us that she tried to have Seth come to the shooting.
But Seth was always quiet. He was always quiet, and that's what I wanted him to come down here someday today, but I couldn't get him. He would not come. He said, "No, Mom, I'm doing something, leave me." So he wouldn't come down.
Lindy Faulkner remembered his brother Seth as a hockey player.
Seth could have been probably the best. He could have been the best of the bunch. He was he was only 17. He played 1 year senior in the Grand Falls League with us, with Bishop Falls team, and he played left side for Alec myself. Good hockey player, fast, he strides much like Jack in his way, in his skating, but strong strong, hard, low shot. You know, it wasn't no slap shot back there, but the snap shot, eh? So, wicked shot, low shot, you know. Corners, you know. Strong that way, yeah.
Olive Faulkner's love for her sons was very evident as she fondly remembered their very, very early hockey playing days.
Oh, well, you know, they weren't very old when they started to play. Over on that river, that's where they got their practice over there. They'd be gone all day. They'd rather do that than have their meals, I'll tell you. So we were glad. I was glad of them. I was glad for them. And we enjoyed it. When they come home, there'd be hockey sticks and pucks and everything everywhere. But they come home, they have their good meal, you know. I kept them fed good.
Early hockey equipment for the Faulkners came out of the Cadillac.
Oh, well, we did without things ourselves. The first thing we did was send to Eaton's and bought sweaters for them and everything they needed, eh? Well, we had to do without for that, you know. The money wasn't floating around then like it is now, you know. So we sent them down. We were so happy with them, you know. When we look at them, I really felt a real love in my heart for them, you know.
Olive Faulkner was a great fan of her sons. She went to all their games.
Oh, I did. 7 years and missed 2 games.
Were you worried about them getting hurt?
Well, not really when you know, when I thought about it, I used to tell them, now be careful, boys, you know. But people used to say to me, how can you go there and watch them boys like that? Supposing they get hurt. But I've seen them get hurt. But, you know, it seemed like I almost grew up with it, eh? And I know they had to have a few knocks, that's for sure. So I didn't worry too much about them.
Did you have one favorite out of the 5?
I can't say I did. Because, well, I know George, he was a real, you know, we used to watch him when he was a boy, and then Alec, and Lindy, he was a holus, and they all skated good, as far as I was concerned. I never had any favors, one way or the other. But now, if you ask me when they went away, I would say, oh, I miss most.
So who did you miss most?
Alec and George. Because they come in my bedroom and they sit on the bed and they tell me all the news, eh?
Olive Faulkner, a fine lady, a wonderful mother, and a mother who takes an awful lot of pride in the accomplishments of all her family, I think particularly her hockey-playing sons. After this message, NTV's Sports Heroes and Legends will be back as we look at the fabulous Faulkners from Bishop Falls, Newfoundland's first family of hockey. Hockey-playing brothers speaks fondly and easily about the early days of skating and playing hockey on the frozen Exploits River.
I started off with the older fellows like Chess Tuck and Bud Mercer. These fellows worked over at the Roundhouse, and Dad used to work there too. He was what you call a hustler, like the steam engines coming in off the road. They would clean the fires and get them ready to go again. Well, usually Dad was working, he was working 7 to 7, 7 in the evening, 7 in the morning. And Bud and Chess were working, they were working the back shift too. So 7 o'clock in the morning, they'd have their skates in the Roundhouse, and Dad would come over and he'd get me. Well, then it ended up, after that, the other fellows too came along. That would happen with the other fellows too. And we'd go over and before breakfast in the morning, before we went to school, we'd have a scrimmage on the river, eh, with the senior fellows from the Roundhouse. Tucky and these fellows, you know, that's the way it went with us, you know.
And Lindy Faulkner smiled about the early hockey equipment that himself and his brothers used.
The equipment we used first, I'll tell you what equipment we used. That's before we got, I remember we got the equipment one Christmas. The 3 of us got it together, you know, the maple leaf sweater and the shin pads and the pants, and we got all that. But before that, we didn't have any of that. But what we used, the only equipment we had before that was probably a couple of scribblers or Eaton's catalog for shin pads or something like that. That's what we had, eh? You know, no equipment other than that when we were youngsters. On the river and stuff.
The sticks?
The sticks? Many of the times we went on the other side of the river before we start playing at all and cut a birch, got a crooked birch, and cut it. I made a hockey stick out of it, and used it. That's what we used to do. Yeah.
Well, Lindy Faulkner doesn't smile when he talks about a Newfoundland Amateur Hockey Association residence rule that prevented him from joining his brothers on the Conception Bay Seabees in Herder Memorial Trophy play.
You know, I was right in my prime then, and I wanted to play with the boys when George came back. You know, Alec went out there. Well, Alec was working with Light and Power, and he went out there, and I was working with CN. But as far as I was concerned, you know, there was no resident rule as far as I was concerned on Newfoundlanders. That wasn't in effect for Newfoundlanders. That was there for mainlanders. And to turn around and work it on me, you know, as far as I'm concerned, where I worked had no bearings on it. I come and work 5 shifts in Beach Falls, and I went to Harbour Grace. And I was out in Harbour Grace. And the day that they brought down the resident rule on me, I played in Prince of Wales Arena in St. John's. We were playing there. So I wasn't in Beach Falls. I was with the team out there. And they pulled the resident rule on me.
Who's your best? All right, when you played with grandfather, Lindy, who was your best coach?
Oh, West Bucko Trainer. That's the only coach ever grandfather had, as far as coaches go. No, we had some pretty good. Nick McCoskey wasn't too bad either, but Wes was the best.
Lindy Faulkner's sons, Wayne and Gene, have 5 Herder Memorial trophies between them, and they've enjoyed considerable success as hockey players on their own. Like any doting grandfather, Lindy Faulkner beams when you give him an opportunity to speak about his 2 grandsons who are now in minor hockey.
Oh, there are treasures there. Yeah. Dougie's come a long way. That's Dougie Hardiman. Last year, Wayne, his father, puts a little sheet of ice out in the back garden for him, see. So, Pop got to come out. Now, this is in Springdale. They live in Springdale, see. This is my daughter. And every now and again, he gets on the phone. Now, he's in the minor hockey up there. They got him a little post, a little taxi. So anyhow, he comes home, and if he gets the goal, when he gets the goal, he got to come in, he got to phone Pop, Beach Falls, He got to tell me all about the game, about the goal he scored, see. You know. Now, Jonathan, well, he's younger, and he's just starting off now. But they're going to be hockey players. They're going to be good.
If Lindy Faulkner says they're going to be good hockey players, even if they're his grandsons, I believe him, and we can look forward to those 2 boys being good hockey players in a year or 2 down the road. Jack Faulkner played tremendous hockey with the Conception Bay Seabees and with the Gander Flyers. And I'm certain that the many thousands of fans around the province who saw him perform for those 2 teams would find it very difficult to believe that Jack Faulkner was 18 years old before he played any real organized hockey. Being the youngest son, Jack Faulkner didn't have the opportunity to play early hockey with his brothers, but he did play some hockey in Bishop Falls.
Early hockey was just Harold Stanley and a bunch of us going to the river. That's, you know, we had no minor hockey. We never ever played any minor hockey in Grand Falls or anywhere. A little bit of school hockey. Once in a while, the school in Bishop Falls would hire the Grand Falls rink, and we'd go up there for an hour or 2 on Saturday. But other than that, it was the river, you know. But not with Alec and George. They were long gone.
How much time on the river?
If the weather was good, on a Saturday, we would spend half the day cleaning the ice. Until dark, we'd be playing. We wouldn't go home and get in the evening or anything like that. After school, if you didn't have to clean the ice, you'd be over after school as well. But you didn't have enough time from 4:30 till dark to do any work as far as cleaning ice is, you know, on the river is concerned.
So really, the first organized hockey for you was senior Herder play in series.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time ever I played, you can say, on an artificial ice rink. It was when George went to Harbour Grace in 1959. That was the first year I played out there.
His brother George was the coach with the Seabees, and as far as Jack is concerned, he was the best coach he ever had.
As far as George is concerned in Harbour Grace, I went to several training camps with Detroit, and we didn't have a training camp up there nowhere as close to as hard as what George put us through in Harrogate. And the thing about it is that you couldn't look up at him and say, you're crazy for getting us to do this, because he was the first one out there and he was the first one doing it, so we just chased him.
You played with some pretty good hockey players in Evergrace besides Alec and George.
I guess. You know, you're talking Buck McDonald, Mike Fitzpatrick, Vern Fitzpatrick. You know, a lot of good hockey players were out there. Jerry Leahy, Jimmy Dow was there. You know. Harold Stanley, another one. With Jimmy Kennedy. You know. I don't know if we were good or we had no sense, I don't know what it was.
Well, you had some good local players, the Pennies, for example.
And I mean, the boys in the Bay, Jimmy Penny, Carl Penny, Freddie Rossiter, when they all started out there, you know, they came right off the ponds too as well, you know.
What kind of money were you making, Jack? When did you get over there those days?
We never got paid for hockey. You know, Frank was there, of course, Frank Moores, and he had the plant there, and we worked in the summertime, and we were given time out to play hockey and this sort of thing, but as far as getting paid to play hockey, no, not directly, you know, not like it was today, you know.
But then you did get paid to play hockey. You went to San Diego.
Yeah, we went, I went down there, and I chased Alec down there, I guess, in Detroit's camp, and they sent me to San Diego for a couple of years. I enjoyed it. It was different. I don't know how to explain how it was different, but it was just different. I was there. I'll try to explain it this way, Dee. If you came up through a junior system, a junior A system, something like that in Ontario, and some of those clubs had money invested into you, and then all of a sudden a fella comes up along that's probably just as good, talent-wise, but those teams hasn't got a cent invested into them. Who's going to get the job? And that's what I found when I was up there. You had to work that much harder to even stay around where they were. You know, it's different now, of course, because you know the hockey in St. John's now, for instance, the junior hockey league in St. John's now is probably getting pretty close to on a par with some of those leagues in Ontario now. So it makes it an awful lot easier, you know.
Jack Faulkner, the youngest of the Faulkner brothers, and in actual fact the third Newfoundlander after Alec and George to play professional hockey. Jack, of course, operates a very successful business now in Gander. After this message, we'll continue with our look at the Faulkners, the hockey-playing family from central Newfoundland. Their name engraved on the Herder Memorial. Here's what they think about having the name Faulkner and playing hockey.
Yeah, I guess they expected you to be a little better hockey player than some of the other guys. I didn't feel too much pressure by it, but it was, you knew it was there. They expected you to be a little better.
What was the reaction of your teammates?
Well, first when we moved out here from Corner Brook, that was their reaction too. They said, well, we got this guy now, he's going to really help the team, so there's a little bit of pressure there, I guess, but it wasn't too bad.
Well, I guess coming out and first, I was a little older when I did start playing hockey. I didn't have any minor hockey or school hockey, not until I finished school, you say, you know, when I was 16. And to come out of a family of hockey players that were still playing in the senior league at that time, because I believe at that time George was in Corner Brook, Jack was playing in Gander with the Flyers, and of course Alec was playing with the Cats in St. John's. So the first year that I played, and not having any hockey experience as such, to start playing in Grand Falls and then to get an opportunity to play against those guys was quite an experience for me, you know.
There probably was some pressure there. People were probably looking at us and wondering how we were going to fare and compare us to Dad and our uncle, sort of a thing. But really, I guess when you got out there and started playing and whatever, you just had fun playing the game, and that really didn't enter into it too much.
Do you find that people, when they find out you're a Faulkner, react a little bit different? Is there an automatic hockey type conversation?
Well, I guess in most of my travels, as soon as you're introduced to somebody and your last name is Faulkner, of course, the first thing is, are you related to George and Alec, and you know, the hockey playing Faulkner sort of a thing. And it certainly opens up a few doors as far as conversation and whatever, especially in the job that I'm in now in sales. Certainly is a conversation piece and gets you into a few people and a few groups and something to talk about and something in common, I guess, with some people that they can relate to, you know.
What kind of influence has hockey had in your life?
I'd have to say a very positive influence. I've been playing now, like I say, since about '74, and played a lot of senior hockey in Grand Falls and traveled around the province and played with and against some great hockey players and more so than great hockey players, with and against some great people. And I think playing amateur hockey, all that you get out of it, other than the fun and enjoyment of playing the game itself, is the acquaintances that you make along the way, you know.
One of the unusual aspects of Bob Faulkner's career, and I suppose we could compare it to the Gordie Howe syndrome, is he had an opportunity, on at least one occasion, to play with his father George in Herder Memorial Trophy competition for the St. John's Capitals.
Well, I was a junior player then. I was 17 years old. And the caps had got stuck up in Labrador, a bunch of the caps. And so they called myself and Bob O'Neill, I think it was, and Eric Seward maybe. And we went down and played against the Royals in the Herder finals, and that was fun. And I got to play with G on defense there for a shift. Don Johnson put us out there together, so that was fun too.
Looking back on it, something you'll always remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Your hockey career didn't last that long. Why?
I didn't really have the same dedication as those guys had. There was a lot more things that I enjoyed doing besides just playing hockey, and I had fun with it. I played with the Shamrocks, won a Herder with, I think that was '79. That was a great team. And I played rec for a couple of years, and then just faded away.
You don't play any hockey?
Not at all now, no. Play squash 5-6 days a week.
People all over Newfoundland and Labrador remember the great hockey performances of the Faulkners. When Wayne Faulkner travels around the province, he's often stopped and people talk to him about the exploits of his father, Lindy, and his three uncles.
Yeah, I think I find, like, I travel the Army quite a bit in my job. I run into a lot of people who come up talking to me and talking about Alec, George, and Jack, and those fellas in days gone by that probably I can't even remember. And those people are coming up and talking to me and know my family, but I don't even know who they are, but I guess through the hockey that they know everybody anyway.
It's a good tradition.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah. I've enjoyed myself I played senior hockey in the senior league for 15 years, and I can't remember having a bad year. There was lots of years we lost, but then again, there's years we won, so you take the good with the bad and make the best of it.
For listening.
When
Due to the lengthily scheduled telecast, already in progress.
And how does one answer that? Well, I don't know. I would, let's put it this way. I suppose you have to offer an opinion. George, of course, was perhaps on the ice the stronger. Physically, he was a very, very strong, tough, smart hockey player. Alec was a very smart hockey player, not necessarily perhaps physically as strong as George, in my opinion, but his agility was fabulous. So one, I think, had the strength, the overall strength, and the other one had a combination of strength, but also had the agility. So I don't know if I've answered the question or not, and I guess very few people would be able to come out and say which is which, the Gordie Howe or the Bobby Hull, as far as George and Alec are concerned. But I am still on the fence as far as actually deciding which, each in his own particular capabilities and abilities, was perhaps better than the other. But all around, I find it difficult to decide which one or the other is better.
And so Walter Clark joins the long list of hockey experts who are unable or who decline to select George as a better player over Alec Faulkner or Alec Faulkner a better player over George Faulkner. Mr. Clark poses some important if questions that could certainly have affected the hockey careers of many of the Faulkners.
There are a lot of ifs. You know, we start off, and I'll go back to said, if George had been fortunate enough when he went to Shawinigan Falls, having played with Claude Provo and Connie Broden. George was undoubtedly the best of the three. Had he been with another organization, other than, say, the Montreal organization, everybody knows Claude Provo got the break and played about 20 years in NHL. What if George had been with some other organization? Where would he have gone? And then there are a number of ifs. If Alec, for instance, at the age of 14 or 15 or 16 had had an opportunity to go away to the OHA, Major Junior A, or some junior hockey league, what would Alec have done? And here we're talking about natural ability. And of course, the great big if that will never be answered again is Seth. There are those who say, and that I know he didn't play long enough, but there are those who say he was probably the best of all of the group. And as I say, what if that leg had not been broken? What a future that young lad might have had. Undoubtedly, today, he still thinks back to those days when he was so good as a young hockey player.
That concludes